I want to welcome you to the Redox Core Curriculum. This class is going to focus in on the topic of inflammation. As you know from the redox basis of illness on our Redox Doc website, there are sort of two categories of challenges to human existence. On one side, there's oxidative stress, where we're battling the inability of our body to maintain balance as it is constantly being compelled toward rusting. On the flip side, there's the issue of inflammation, which is essentially the body's, in this instance, the body's sort of production of immune complexes that is leading the body out of balance, and sort of like the immune system is attacking ourselves. So that's the area we're going to focus in on tonight. Now, don't get me wrong, the inflammatory process is normal and part of life. When we have some insult, we have a protective process that is initiated in our body. Immune cells, white blood cells, will be drawn into the area. They're signaled in there by redox molecules. Blood vessels are dilated by certain enzymes, and these molecular mediators of the healing cells of our body, redox molecules, actually orchestrate and choreograph and signal the right actions. So this is a vital purpose in our body. We constantly have to repair. We're not like a John Deere tractor that just kind of wears out and you get new parts. We heal on the run. We take care of ourselves if we can maintain balance. So we've got to rid ourselves of what might have caused an injury. So if there was a thorn that penetrated our skin, we develop an inflammatory response to try to get it out, to get rid of it. In an injury, let's say, again, on our skin or maybe internally, there is going to be a need to clear out the bad chemicals that have been brought in somehow through a toxic exposure, or clearing away dead tissues. This all is part of initiating repair, and it's a constant, ever ongoing process. That kind of repair process is what you might call a generic response. There are targeted responses that are mediated by other kinds of immune cells, but the basic response, we just call it a generic one. So if you have too little of a response of the immune system, then you're going to have a problem with infection. If it's excessive or chronic over response, now we're looking at autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, or even coronary artery disease, or hay fever, something as simple as that. So what I really want to kind of focus in on now is chronic inflammation. It's really become a big part of the industrialized lifestyles. And I would say that if you want to look at what might be causing some of these factors, I would promote the fact that adrenal stress is a key factor. When we are keyed up, when we're under stress, we have chemicals that our adrenal glands will secrete that alert the nervous system and the immune system that there is a problem. We have a state of hypervigilance. We're going to fight the battle or hide from an offender, or maybe there's a plague or a war, who knows, but our bodies are going to be geared up. And in that state, we have a real problem with the way the immune system is going to be able to hold up to that. There may be environmental toxins that are behind our chronic inflammatory diseases. I think that there are some genetic predispositions that you'll see that run through family trees, but I believe the biggest factor, and the evidence in the research seems to support this, that the biggest factor has to do with the inflammation that lies within our own digestive tract. So our diets today have led to the promotion of the growth of certain pathogenic bacteria. Now we have a normal flora in our bowel of all kinds of germs. There's yeast germs and bacteria germs, and they all kind of exist together. There's a healthy balance. But today's diets, oftentimes, and our lifestyle too, has led to a buildup of the bad bacteria or pathogens. So You'll hear about H. pylori, for example, as a dreaded germ that needs to be killed. Well, there's a whole host of these bacteria, and they cause inflammation like a raw lining of our small intestine. So, this raw lining interferes with our ability to absorb nutrients, not just calories, but nutrients like vitamins and minerals and things. They don't get to come through the lining of the bowel. There's so much redness and irritation and kind of like a goo that develops along the lining. Now, here's where the tricky part is. The lining of the bowel lives about less than an inch from 80% of the lymph nodes that are inside our body. So the abdominal cavity, where the mesentery is, the mesentery lymph nodes represent the more than 3/4 of all the lymph tissue in our body. So here they are living right near all this inflammation. And what do? They get worried because all this stuff is kind of seeping through the cracks of the broken down tissues that are inflamed. And so it's like a warning, warning, we got to do something about this. And so there's a sort of a heightened immune response. This goes on and on and on, and it can lead to confusion in our body. And the immune system begins to worry that we are sort of like the enemy. And there's an attack sometimes that will occur on other internal organs because there's this overexerted system that doesn't quite know who's friend and who's a foe. So what can we do? Well, it helps to eat foods that are not processed. So shopping on the outside edge of a grocery store is really smart because all the stuff on the inside are in boxes and bags, and that's full of chemicals that the pathogenic bacteria don't seem to care about, but the good bacteria do. So eating right helps. But really, how can we heal this lining? And so it turns out that as we supplement our body with redox molecules, these little molecules that are part of our cellular biology that now can be taken in oral supplementation, as we consume them, along with hydrating our body with good water, we can sort of soothe the tissues that are inflamed. The bad bacteria don't seem to like these molecules. The molecules empower the lining of the intestine cells to begin a healing process that we talked about. And with the right balance, it leads to recovery. The lining of our intestinal tract is actually a speedier healer than our outside skin. And it's almost 3 times faster. So if we provide our body with plenty of hydration, the right nutrients, and a balanced supplementation of redox molecules, we can set the stage for healing. And this is not just a Band-Aid, but a deep cellular healing that will persist and move forward and lead to other restoration of other imbalances. And wow, imagine what calming down that overexcited immune system would be like. Not only does it help with reducing those chronic inflammatory issues, but it also helps with allowing us to sleep and be in a better state of overall health. So we do have choices. We do have the ability to provide this cellular resource that has never been available until the last 5 years. And it is remarkable what it will do when we provide it to the body in a targeted manner. I thank you for joining me on this important topic of inflammation. I welcome you to join us with other courses. Thank you for being here at the Redox Core Curriculum.